everybody, Valerie here and welcome back to Art a la Carte. In today's video, I'm going to attempt something that I've never done before, at least not to this extent. And it's going to take a ton of different art supplies. I don't even know all the different art supplies that I was going to use at the beginning of this creation process, but I used quite a lot of them. I want to create a piece inspired by a ride at Disneyland. Now, for those of you who have maybe followed my channel or social media for a while know that I am a huge Disney nerd. I love Disney. I love Disneyland. Oh, I'm missing it. I am missing Disneyland. I'm not so much missing the crowds, but I'm missing the Disney magic. So I decided to create an art piece inspired by one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. So for this one is the Alice in Wonderland ride. Now, I didn't have an exact idea of what I wanted to do, so to get some inspiration, I watched as many videos on YouTube of the ride. Like, you can go on almost any ride at Disneyland that you want by just going and typing point of view ride and then name the ride. So if you ever need like a little mini vacation, YouTube loves to take on vacation. So I watched it over and over and over and then did a little thumbnail sketch of what I thought were some of my favorite things. I didn't want to recreate one exact scene. I just wanted to put some of the elements of the ride into my picture. Now, originally I was going to do this just as a traditional piece, just draw it and paint it or use markers or whatever and create it. But then I thought the amazing thing about these kinds of rides is that you're always wondering what's around the next turn, and you're always kind of looking ahead and seeing things. And I wanted my picture to have that. I wanted it to have a lot of fun detail, but also have that really big depth. So as I began to create the piece, I began to draw each element on a different piece and cut it out. And then I would use spacers to kind of put in that depth. If I'm not explaining myself very well, just keep watching and you'll kind of see how it works. I wanted to do this as a tutorial video and show you how you can do this, but literally spent over 12 hours creating the art for this and probably another 4 hours putting it together, and knew there was no way I was going to cover everything in one video. So this video is just going to be an overview of the process to kind of show you what I did, and then I loved it so much I want to do others. So then maybe I'll break it down into a little bit step by step so that you guys can create your own kind of pictures like this. Whether you decide to base them on Disneyland rides or something else is completely up to you. But as you can see, I am thinking about each piece of this picture as a level. Even the tree, I'm not just painting and drawing a tree. I think about the level of leaves and branches and creating those so that when you look at the tree, it's going to have a dimension. As you turn the picture, you can see a little bit between the branches, and I thought that'd be kind of fun. But let me back up a little bit to the very first piece that you saw me painting, which was the background. I knew I was just going to have a basic dark green background, but just in case you could see something between the characters, I went ahead and painted a little bit of the Queen's Rose Garden. I wanted to add one of the rose bushes that they were painting the roses red on, so I made that the first level. Coming up next to that was the Cheshire Cat's tree, which again, I worked a lot of detail with the actual leaves and branches, and then the base trunk itself are all different parts. By this point, I was becoming a little bit more confident in creating this, so I decided to tackle my first character piece. There are about 4 different main characters in this finished piece, and the first one is the Birdcage, and I wanted to make it 2 different levels, one being the birdcage itself and then one being the little bird inside the birdcage. So I drew it out on really heavy-duty watercolor paper, and then I knew that cutting it out with scissors would be way too challenging and would probably ruin the paper itself, so I used a craft blade to cut it out meticulously. And I love how it turned out. It was so cute. So I was ready to jump on to the next 2 characters, which were my favorite. I was super excited, and that is the Cheshire Cat itself and the Alice figure. While I haven't recorded the creation of every single step in this process, I wanted to show you just how long it took me to draw just the Cheshire Cat head, and I sped that footage up almost 1,000 times. It's normal speed, so you can see it takes a long time. The Cheshire Cat had 3 different levels, being the head, the body, and the tail, and I think it turned out pretty cool. I wish there was some way that I could have made it glow, maybe with lights or something behind it, but haven't quite figured that part out. So now let's move on to the Alice figure. And at first I thought, well, maybe I would make her hair, her face, her dress, her arms, all different levels and layers, but I knew it was going to be such a complex piece and I was running out of time, so I decided just to make it 3 different levels. I had her main body, her apron, and her legs being different levels. So I drew out the main body first, colored that in, and then began to create the apron. So for the apron, I used a just regular piece of computer paper. I wanted it really light so it would look a little bit flowy, cut out the shape, and then glued it onto her dress. I didn't quite like the way it was sitting, so I cut out another band to kind of be like the tie and worked with that a little bit. So I wanted to definitely give some distance between the dress and her legs. So to give that kind of effect, I used a thick craft foam that I glued between the 2 pieces. And so I'll flip this over in just a second so you can kind of see what it looks like on the back. Definitely not as pretty on the back as it is on the front, but it gives you an idea of how, if you want to add a little bit more dimension to your cutout pieces, what you can do to create that. If you don't have craft foam, you can use thick pieces of cardboard that you can glue. And I did that a lot with some of the other pieces. I ran out of craft foam, so I just used cardboard boxes and cut them up, and it worked out fine. The 4th character piece that I created for this was the Tiger Lily Cat, which is the piece that I think has the most dimension because I curled the leaves so it really stands out. As I was finishing up, I thought of one more piece that I wanted to add, which is the mushroom outside of the actual ride. And I really wanted to put in the little caterpillar's shoes, but I also wanted to have the book, and the caterpillar shoes are actually on the back side of the mushroom, so I had to choose which one, so I decided to have the book instead. So before assembling the entire piece, I laid out all the pieces along with all the foliage and leaves and things like that, just to kind of get one last look, and then began to assemble. And you'll even see that I have like the little tracks for the ride car that they travel on. I wanted to put those in there because I wanted people to know that this is based on the ride, not so much the movie. It's what you would see in the ride. So I thought that was kind of a little touch for that. Again, it took me about 4 hours to assemble all these pieces with all the different spacers and to figure out the framing and all of that. So if you'd like more detail on how I put this together, I would definitely hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell because I'm planning to do another one next month. I already have my theme picked out, and maybe you guys can guess what it is, or if there is a ride at Disneyland that you would like to see made into one of these kind of art forms, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe I'll choose yours for an upcoming video. But before I end this video, I have decided that if I could pick one person who I thought was as much or maybe even more of a Disney nerd than I am to tag in this art challenge, that would be the YouTube artist Baylee Jae, which I got the chance to go to Disneyland with, and we had so much fun. So Baylee Jae, I am tagging you in this art inspired by Disneyland challenge. For this challenge, you can use any medium you like, but just create a piece based on a Disneyland something, a ride, part of the park, something when you look at it, it makes you think of Disneyland. If you guys would like to take this challenge as well, please do so. And then make sure to share this video with all of your Disney nerd friends as well. Well, until next time, God bless you guys, and may all your dreams come true. Keep drawing, and we'll see you in another art video. Bye-bye!